Hello there and welcome back to my world of stuff. It's Sunday afternoon, about 5 o'clock. You find me out and about at the cinema. I've been to the View Cinema and I've been to see Companion, the new horror thriller comedy from Drew Hancock, starring Sophie Thatcher, who we saw most recently in Heretic towards the end of last year, and Jack Quaid, who many of you will know from the, I think it's Amazon, superhero show The Boys. The thing I like about going to the cinema sometimes is that you very often go to see a film and you broadly know what you're going to think of it before you see it, whether if it's a Marvel film or Mission Impossible or Bond or any of the big films. You sort of think, well, I know I'm going to get a certain level of enjoyment out of this. You know what you're going to get. But the best thing about seeing a film like Companion is you don't know what you're going to get. This isn't a franchise film. This is a one-off, standalone film. And this is a film that I think when people were doing their previews at the end of last year about the films to look out for in 2025, I don't think this one was on many people's radar, even though I think the trailer had been released and broadly speaking people knew it was coming out early this year. But I don't think many people had much in the way of expectations about it, because why would they? This is just a film, a horror film of the type that tends to come out this time of year when things are fairly quiet at the cinema. And what I like about seeing films like this is that sometimes they completely blow you away. And I was completely blown away by this film. What a terrific film. What a cracking film to start off a new year of film going. I mean, I've seen a few films this year, obviously, but these are all ones that are almost like leftovers from last year. And I don't mean any disrespect to the brilliant Nosferatu in saying that, but this is the first sort of fresh, new 2025 film. And this just comes exploding out of the blocks at you. Now, I knew this was coming out. I know there have been reviews recently. I knew that it was something to do with artificial intelligence, but I haven't looked too deeply into the plot. And I think I did see the trailer, but I can't remember now if it gives much away or not. If it did, I'd forgotten it. And I haven't looked at reviews in depth. I've just sort of looked at them to see what the broad sort of opinion of them is. And I gathered that it was quite a positive spin that the film's had. What none of those reviews have done, and I ain't going to do it either, is spoil this film. There's very little I'm going to say about the actual plot, because if I say much more than the very basics, it's going to ruin the thing. And this is a new release, and I think you should go and see this film. It's a 15-rated film, with good reason. But it's so clever and it's so inventive within a genre and a sub-genre even that we might think is a bit played out or has been done to death a little bit in recent years. The film starts off with Iris and Josh meeting up in a grocery store. A clumsy accident with some oranges leads to the pair clearly forming a bit of a bond. We are some time later, presumably some months later, and the couple are on their way to spend some time at the weekend retreat, a cabin in the woods, as it were, belonging to some friends of Josh. We've got Sergei, who's the slightly sleazy Russian boyfriend of Josh's friend Kat, and we've got Eli and Patrick, a gay couple who are very much in love, and Eli in particular is part of some of the comedy strand of the film. When they get to the cabin, there are some tensions. Kat, Josh's friend, doesn't like Iris for some reason. She, at one point, says, "I don't like the idea of you," which is a curious thing to say about somebody, until we discover why. And that's really about as far as I can go with the plot, because what happens and what transpires at this cabin is full of twists and surprises and things that make you go, wow, things that make you laugh, because this is a film that sways back and forth between some really good, well-judged comedy and some good comedy performances and good comedy lines and characterizations, and quite shocking moments of violence, shocking and surprising turns of the plot. This is a film that you can't really second guess. There are several twists that you think, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect that, or wow, this turns things on its head a bit. It's a genuinely excellent film. It feels fresh and original. I mean, as I said, there are plot elements about artificial intelligence and machines and so on. And I think you will probably know from what you've read of part of what the film involves. And that's something which we think, oh, well, we've seen lots of things about that sort of thing recently. But this puts a very clever, very original, partly comedic spin on it. I mean, it gets very dark. Obviously, it does get very dark towards the end. But it's absolutely captivating film, gripping. It's got a story that pulls you in and characters that you're interested in. Very well filmed, very well put together on a budget of just $10 million. This is going to turn a healthy profit, obviously. And it just goes to show that for all the money that's flung at the big blockbusters and the big tentpole genre films, you don't need to spend 200, 300 million to make a really good, entertaining film. As long as you've got a good story and good performances and a good writer and director, and Drew Hancock, I don't know the name, has written this film and directed it, and it feels like the work of a master craftsman who's done this sort of thing time and again. It's so well oiled and so well put together and so well crafted. Absolutely terrific. And this is one of those films, even though it's February that it's being released, or the end of January it's being released, this is a film which I think is going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year, because it just surprised me. And I love when cinema can do that. I love when something comes at you from nowhere. You weren't expecting it, you didn't expect much of it, and it absolutely blows your head off. A great film, absolutely terrific film. I'm not going to say any more about the plot or what happens in it, because you need to go and see it now. So it's highly recommended from me. Companion is in cinemas now. I'm going to give it a big mighty... I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10. But it's 90 minutes, 91 minutes. And I've watched a few films this year so far which are about 90 minutes. And that honestly is long enough to tell a good story. Because we see all these 2-hour plus films and you think, yeah, I could knock 20 minutes off this quite easily. But this is nice and tight and compact, gets on with it, doesn't mess about, no flab on it. Absolutely terrific. So Companion gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. In cinemas now. Just go and see it. If you like a very clever genre horror film that has got a bit of brains about it, it's not just about mindless stabbing and slashings and killings, this is absolutely the one for you. Can't recommend it highly enough. Right, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, that would be marvellous. Subscriber numbers have sort of frozen a bit at the moment, so please like, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment down below. I will see you soon for some more reviews and bits and pieces during the week. Until I do, you keep taking that stuff.